Awesome. Yeah. First of all, thank you very much for coming out. It's a little bit of a bittersweet moment for me for a couple of reasons. Number one, and some of the guys are here today. Obviously, I'm gutted for the guys, and I feel terrible for them, and that they worked so hard and sacrificed so much this season, and so for their season to end prematurely is a tough pill for us to swallow. And so for that, it's a bit of a bittersweet moment. And secondly, because obviously Coach Bolovich walking away from the college game, something that he's known and done at such a tremendous level for the last 33 years of his life. It's sad to see him go. But I am very excited. I'm honored. I'm up for the challenge, and I'm really looking forward to what the future holds for us at Creighton University. And I know none of this would be possible without the opportunity that Coach Rasmussen and Kevin Sarver and the rest of the committee has given me.
We'll now open up for questions.
Johnny, what does it mean to be a former player from back in the 90s and now to be the head coach?
Yeah, I know it's great to actually still have you here. I remember you dearly when I was a student athlete here at Creighton. So to me, it means a lot. Creighton is it's been a very important part of my life. It's shaped me into the man I've become, and I think it's a dream job to be able to say that I'm now doing the responsibilities as a head coach at my alma mater.
Hey Johnny, take us through the process of kind of how this came to be for you. And I know, Almar's situation and what he was kind of going through there, but how did that kind of come to pass for you here?
Yeah, no, I'm glad you asked that, because I know from the outside looking in, a lot of people might think that Coach Bolovich stepped away from the game because we didn't qualify into the NCAA tournament. That's not the case at all. Omar Bolovich is an upstanding man, and he knew that he was near the end, but did not want to detract attention from our guys during the season, and that's why he chose to keep it to himself, and I respect that. And it just shows you the type of character and the type of man he is. So I knew this was in the back burner. Obviously, it was something that I always wanted to pursue. Never knew 100% on whether or not it would come to fruition, especially as quickly as it did. But nevertheless, I'm delighted.
Coach, could you walk us through the last 24 hours? At like noon yesterday, your team was looking to potentially get a berth to the tournament, and now you're the head coach. Just what has this past 24 hours been like for you?
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. Again, it's been up and down. It's been a mixture of emotions. And I would say, though, even though I am, again, delighted to be named the head coach of Creighton University, I think what would make it completely perfect for me is if our boys would have been put towards the NCAA tournament yesterday.
John, we know Creighton means to you, obviously, but when in the process of your post-college career did you kind of become ambitious about being a head coach and possibly being a head coach here?
Yeah, I always envisioned me staying involved with soccer even after I retired from the professional game. I went back and forth in regards to at what capacity I'd want to do that. And after playing pro for 11 years, I got to see the ugly side of pro athletics. And I realized what a difference in my life playing at Creighton made, or did for my life, or did for me. And I wanted to be able to make that type of impression on the young men that are coming through here during that point in their life. I know what Brett Simon and Coach Warming and even some of the upperclassmen that I played with, I know what type of impression they made in my life at that stage of my life where I'm going from, a young kid who thinks he knows everything and trying to become a man. And I wanted to be part of that.
Johnny, where do you see this soccer in this community? Do you recruit here, or do you go outside, or do you try to just build it up here?
I've been fortunate enough to being back at Creighton now, or being at Creighton twice, and both times I would have to say that the support from the community has been unbelievable, and it continues to be that way. Obviously, if we're able to recruit locally, I'm open to that. Now there's a new factor involved in that with two Division I schools being in the same city, one being a state school, one being a private school. It changes the landscape a little bit. Whereas in the past, it might have been easier for us to recruit locally. Now it's a bit harder for us in that, just to give you an example, if a local kid wants to go to UNO, it could be pretty inexpensive for him, even if he doesn't get scholarship. At Creighton, regardless of whether you are in-state or out-of-state, it's going to be the same amount if we're not able to give you a scholarship. And in a sport that fully funded gives you 9.9 scholarships, and to have a roster of anywhere from 25 to 30, it's a tall order to do, to be able to recruit and stay within that 9.9.
I guess there's been, I don't know if you've noticed it or not, because I don't think you're on Twitter, but Wake Forest coach obviously reached out, Yale's coach reached out, obviously Coach Warming reached out. To have, I guess, people around the country notice you, and even though you weren't the head coach, to notice that you kind of had earned this position, what did that mean to you, I guess, to see the outpouring?
It means a lot to me, actually, and I've always said that the soccer community, in the grand scheme of things, is a small community, and we do all know each other, and word gets around. And so to have those types of guys like Bobby Moose at Wake Forest or Coach Warming and others reach out to me has been an unbelievable feeling, a lot of feeling of support, of belief, of confidence, and so it's great to be able to see that.
How great is it for you just to have Coach Warming across town? I mean, now your first job, here you are, and the guy who maybe was a mentor to you obviously is still around in the game, and now is a rival of yours.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's a neat deal for me, and I'm fortunate to have that. He believed in me back in the mid-'90s as a player, and he believed in me in 2007 when he brought me back as an assistant coach. And so I'm fortunate, and I'm indebted to Coach Warming for as long as I live.
How do you approach your first head coaching job? I mean, is there any concerns that you have? I mean, obviously you know the game from a lot of different perspectives, but it's still a little bit different when it's your team for the first time. How do you approach that?
I'm up for the challenge. I'm excited, knowing that it's going to be what I decide to do and how we decide to play. Although I don't see much changing, to be honest with you. I think the way we've played the last 8 years is pretty consistent with the type of soccer that we still envision in playing. Our standards are still set very high. The guys know that, and I'm just looking forward to the opportunity.
What was your message to the team?
Actually, we're going to meet after this, so we'll have a conversation today. And it's just in a nutshell, just like I said before, in regards to what changes, there's not going to be much change. Our standards are still going to be upheld high. We're still going to treat these guys like pros, like adults, and in return, we're going to want the same thing from them, and that they hold themselves like adults and hold themselves like pros.
Tom, you kind of touched on this a little bit, but you're here for 12 years. Why?
Why have I been here for 12 years? Well, these guys never kicked me out, I guess. No, I love Omaha. I really do. And for, we joke about this all the time. For a guy from Medellin, Colombia, to say, hey, I love Omaha, and especially when it's so cold outside and whatnot. But I love Omaha as a community. I always knew that I would end up back here. I always wanted to raise my family here, and I'm being fortunate enough with this opportunity now. And I've always loved Creighton University. I talked about it in regards to the official visits I took as a student athlete, being at bigger schools and being on bigger campuses, and then coming to Creighton and taking my visit. I was blown away. I was blown away with not just the size of the university, but the way people related to one another. One of the first guys I met on my visit was Doc Bevilacqua, and I think he sums it up, to a T for me. He was a down-to-earth guy with a lot of humility, with a big heart, and I saw that permeate through the entire soccer team and the community, and that's something that I always want to be part of.
Johnny, you were part of those college cups and making the tournament and winning conference titles. What is the goal of this team? Big East, to make the tournament, national championship? What's the goal?
Absolutely. You know, we understand this year is a disappointment because we expect to be in postseason play every single year. I thought what the guys did in the regular season was unbelievable. They're one of the best teams in the country, and to be able to take the regular season championship was an amazing feat. And we had 3 in mind, and unfortunately we fell a little short this year. But and moving into the future, this is the same. It's the same model. We want to get trophies. We want to do the best we can and continue and continue into playing into December.
What type of challenges are there? You know, considering the way soccer's kind of dominated on the coasts, and to be a school in the Midwest and still try to, you know, rise to an elite level year after year.
You know, I think that we're in a good situation in that even though we might be in the middle of the country and we have to do lots of traveling, we are very fortunate that at Creighton University we have so much support and so many resources that still allow us to be able to play teams on the East Coast or West Coast, teams that are very talented and high RPI teams that will help us. And so we're fortunate that we're able to, even though we're localized in the middle of the country, we're still able to go out and seek out talent and play against very good sides.
I know it's not lost on you, but I mean, when you think about Ross as coaching the women now, and now you have an opportunity here with the men on the men's side, the fact that you two kind of were part of the beginning, playing in the mud at Tranquility, and now you're here at Morrison Stadium. I guess, what does it mean to have, you know, a guy you've known that long?
It's
kind of
awesome.
doing the same thing here?
Yeah, and, you know, it's awesome. And Ross and I were speaking this morning as to, you know, where we want to go with both programs and what we're looking to do. And, you know, I've known Ross since I was about 10 years old. And, you know, it goes back to what I spoke about earlier. In the grand scheme of things, the soccer community is very small. And for a guy from Tennessee and a guy that grew up in Houston, Texas, to be able to, now we're both 43, 42, to be able to say, hey, we're still together, we're still doing this, is neat. And it's a godsend for me, and I still consider myself very lucky to have a friend like Ross.
And Johnny, for recruitment issues, you understand the Latino player because you know you're from Colombia. Do you see that as helpful for you to reach out to more kids in Latin America or maybe Mexico?
No, absolutely. You know, the beauty about soccer, it's a world sport, right? And so regardless of what ethnicity you are or where you're from, when you get down to the nitty-gritty and you look at soccer as its basics, it's something that can bring all worlds together. And so we've obviously been very fortunate to be able to bring kids from other countries and other walks of life. And, you know, if the opportunity presents itself, regardless of what country they're from or what language they speak, being that soccer is a world sport, we'd love to entertain the idea of having them.
Any other questions? All right. Thanks, guys, for coming out.
Thank you so much, guys.
One more time for
Thank you.
Torres.